This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome aboard, especially to our kiddies. Can you see that our very territorial Impala ram is saying hello? Hello to the kids from South Africa, the USA, UK, Canada, Turkey, Colombia, and India. I hope that you all have your questions ready. My name is Trishala, and I've got Davy on camera with me this afternoon. Remember that you can send your questions through to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv, and we'll happily answer them and chat to you, and we can have a whole discussion about the bush and what goes on here at Djuma Game Reserve in South Africa. Are you excited? I'm excited. Have you got all your popcorn ready and your safari things ready and your binoculars ready? We're going to go see some animals. Now, I have a plan to go visit Ribbon. Remember Ribbon? She's the hyena who has two little cubs at her den, not far away. So maybe we visit her after a little bit of a drive. I think we spend a few minutes and then we'll go to Ribbon. Here's some other little antelope, well, not so little ones, some wildebeest, and they are looking down towards James. James is at the dam, so let's go over to say good afternoon.
Good afternoon and welcome to this end of the Sunset Safari. We've got a great big herd of Impala here, and if you look very carefully you'll see that there are at least two very strange looking Impala at the far end of the herd, but we'll have a look at them just now. My name is James Hendry. Hello. On camera today is Owen. That is Owen's thumb, and we'd love to hear from you, especially the youngsters, over the next 45 minutes, and you can talk to us using the email address kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Back to the strange Impala, which aren't Impala at all. They are, in fact, Ngala. Keep going, Owen, to the right. That's it, there you got them. Two Ngala bulls, and they are hanging around with the Impala, of course, because of the protection afforded by the extra eyes and ears. So just to reiterate, first 45 minutes of the drive, especially for the youngsters between the ages of 0 and 18, and then after that we'll open up the floor. Now this is very interesting. Ngala have evolved to try and avoid physical contact, so they will have these kind of dance-offs, slow Tai Chi yoga dance-offs, and only when those fail will they have a physical altercation. Linda, you say this is your favorite animal? Well, it's my favorite antelope for sure. And I once had an experience right around here, about 3 years ago, where two Ngala came to blows, and I have never seen such a ferocious fight in the wilderness. It went on and on and on, and those two bulls slashed at each other with their horns and defended like champion fencers. It was absolutely amazing to watch. Right, let's quickly go across to Trish with another antelope.
We have yet another antelope here on quarantine. Remember quarantine clearings? This is where all the antelope like to hang out. And this particular little guy is very, very scared and skittish most of the time, so we're quite far away. And it's called a steenbok. We don't get to see them too often on drive because they hop away very quickly at the smallest antelope we get here. Sometimes even just 11 kgs. 11 kgs, that's tiny. When you think of the other antelope that we saw earlier, the wildebeest, that's about 250 kgs. So this is a very little, tiny guy. Can you see the horns? What does that tell you? It's a male. Very relaxed. Also eating, but still watching us. They're very, very pretty. I think that their horns look like they were holding two pencils when they were running, and then they tripped and fell, and then the pencils lodged into their head. Choo-choo. Very cool. All right, well, Rowan at andBeyond's Ngala is also out, and I wonder what surprises he has for you today. So let's go over and say good afternoon to Rowan.
One, 3. Good afternoon, everyone, and especially the families and kids joining us this afternoon, and welcome to andBeyond Ngala. You are with me, Rowan, and then Marcel behind the camera. So what we did is we just went past where we left the 2 male lines this morning, the Birmingham young male and the Ross male, and no view of either of them. We think the Birmingham young male is still in that area, still lying down somewhere in the shade, but the Ross male, his tracks went west, and then it seems like they cut off south. So what we're going to do now is continue further west till we can find a crossing where we can actually cross the Timavati River, go to the other side, because this morning on our way back we found a herd of about 150, maybe 200 buffalo in that area, almost where he's walking to. So we're going to go see if maybe he is following. So we just pop on over to the side, and other than we're definitely back in area to the sun, so I shift gears to see if we start. I'm pretty sure the young is start moaning again. So for now, while we dip to the other side, I think we're going to send you back to James, who's already got the little Grebe.
Now we're just having the best little time with these chaps. I'm not sure if you have seen them before. Many of you, or most of you probably have, but we've watched them from the time that they were just little eggies. And now our little Grebes are independently swimming around. They're probably getting almost too big to get on their mum's backs. She's still feeding them, although they are trying to feed a little bit, and they are a long way from the nest. They're very good at swimming now. I think what will be interesting here is to see if either of them dive. Look, they've dived! Look at that! Look, how cool is that? The little one dived under the water and swam. Now let's see if his brother or sister is able to do the same thing. No, quite cleverly not. Waited for Mum to come up so that he could get some food. Oh, that's beautiful. Wasn't that fun? Jamison, you're wondering why birds alarm call when they aren't necessarily the prey. Well, they could be the prey, so birds will alarm call at a leopard, even if it's unlikely they're going to be the prey. They'll alarm call just about for any predator, because they could be the prey. I think the one on the left there is much more precocious than the one on the right. That's the one that did the diving, and now it's monopolizing all the food. Come on, Mum, don't only feed one of them. The little one on the right hasn't had one thing to eat just yet. Now it'll be too slow again. Oh, there we go. Got something. Phew. And 2 things. Excellent. Oh. Rose, when you ask a question like this, what you need to appreciate is that it's not only the mammals that we talk about when we talk about animals. So when you ask me how many animals there are here, I will need to have in my mind an idea of the number of termites, grasshoppers, dragonflies, praying mantises, fish, frogs, reptiles, birds, mammals, millipedes, centipedes, woodlice, ticks, spiders, and all the other kinds of animals that we get here. So I have no idea how many animals there are here. In terms of mammals, there is no fence around this reserve, and so the mammals can come and go as they please. And so it's very difficult to say how many there are, because a lot of them are not territorial. We know vaguely how many leopards we have and how many leopards use this reserve, and it's about 3 territorial females, maybe 4, and also 2 or 3 territorial males, but they cross our borders and go a long way else besides. So it's really hard to say how many animals there are on the reserve at any one time. Does that answer your question? Probably not really. These are two very special little characters. And they don't have a very good chance of survival, but they've done better than most. From this point on, they've probably got a much better chance than they had, say, a week ago. When they were still on their mum's back, they couldn't swim like they can now, and they couldn't dive like they can now. That's very, very special. Good. We're going to move on from here and see what else we can find. We're going to hand you over to the eco-training camp at Karongwe, which is about 110 kilometers to the west.
Hello everybody, my name is Taylor and on camera with me today is Alex, and we are at Karongwe Game Reserve, where I'm standing next to a termite mound, in case you were wondering what this big structure is. This is a really, really, really big one. So I hope that you lots of no, really better. Sorry everybody, my apologies. And the strange sounding me to stop. No. Hello? Okay. This is great. This is what happens when you live in the bush in Africa. This is a termite mound, and it's a very special thing to see in nature, because termites, even though people, like maybe your parents, probably don't enjoy termites because they might eat your house if it's made of wood, apparently you guys can all hear me properly. I think maybe there's a connection fault between me and where Alex is sitting, who's on camera today. So essentially what we're looking at is this termite mound, and it's made of soil and bits of saliva of the termites. But I don't think that there are any termites living here anymore, because what you're seeing is only a third of the termite mound. So it's basically like a big iceberg. But the problem is, and why I think it's not living and why there's no one home, is look at all the grass that's growing around here. Normally termites are very good gardeners and they keep their mounds nice and clean. But I think what we're going to do is we'll probably move on from here and see if we can't find a termite mound where there are actually some termites home. We're going to head down along this road where there are plenty. So off you go to Djuma with Trishala, who's at the hyena den.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I decided, let's come and check out what's going on at the den. It's a bit earlier than we usually check, but why not? Now, if Ribbon, Mum, is here, then we can stay for a little while. If not, we're going to have to move on, because no kitties want to be left alone without Mum. Luckily, Mum is here. She's just sitting on a different side. How am I going to get to you, girl? She's sitting perfectly so that she's hidden from us, but I'm going to try my hardest. I might have to be in a bush, but that's okay as long as you can see her. Oh, she's come out a little bit. There we go. That's as much as we're going to see of Ribbon. She's relaxing there. It must mean that her cubbies are safely and asleep inside of the den. Now it's a warm day today, so she is also seeking some shade. About 27 degrees Celsius, 81 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're gonna have to keep cool like a ribbon. But Rowan seems to have found some buffalo. I wonder if they're also trying to keep cool.
I'm also keeping cool. So we managed to find like the western edge of this buffalo herd. The majority of the animals looking at us now are just youngsters and females. But we've been scanning around, and to be honest, this herd's not in the best shape. The one female walking around, the male walking away from us now, he's missing the tip of his tail. There's a youngster to our left, which is missing its right horn. There's another one, I think the female, also on our left, staring at us. She's got a huge ulcer that popped on her side, so the oxpeckers are having quite a feast in there. But judging from where they are now and where they were this morning, I don't think they've seen this male lion. They've really not moved a lot at all. But quite a lot of youngsters here, and it's nice to see, because they're the browner ones, they're not as dark yet as the adults. Very loud animals when they walk through the bush, when they move through the bush. Crushing the grass, making grunts. And I can tell you, it does not smell too great either. It's a lot of poo around. Oh. Come too close to her and her baby. You can see the baby there is trying to feed from her. And quite a cute baby. Still quite young. About a month, just over a month. Eric's asking if buffalo are hostile towards humans. Eric, a lot. Oh, actually, I really think any wild animal could be hostile towards humans. I think more so on foot when you are walking around, they see as a threat. With us being in the car, it's all these animals are quite habituated to our vehicles, so not too bad. But it tends to be the older males that are not with the herd anymore that tend to be more hostile. But yeah, like anything, I mean, if we had to go walk around here and they see on foot, it would be a whole different scenario than us just driving around in the vehicle. But you can see the ones, I mean, even this female that we zoomed on now, she's not taken her eye off us. The one on the right, same thing. And when we just arrived, everyone was looking at us. You could just see flies around here. There's so many bugs following this buffalo herd. Yeah, actually, quite interestingly, there's I saw them a little bit earlier. Often birds here, fork-tailed drongos that fly around herds of buffalo, especially when they walk, because you can imagine these buffalo going through the grass, they spook up a lot of insects, and then the fork-tailed drongos, they'll come in and catch all these insects. Just here oxpeckers for now. So it's quite a sound. It's a sound I really enjoy in the bush. It's a big herd of buffalo. Lucy from the USA, who's only 7 years old, wants to know how many buffalo there are in a herd, and are they mostly female or male? So Lucy, it's it's various sexes. It's, there'll be a lot of youngsters, a lot of females, but also a lot of males. There's no strict rule to it. And again, our herds vary. I think the largest herd that I ever saw on andBeyond in Ngala was about 1,400 buffalo. And I can tell you it was a magnificent sight, them just walking in over sandy patches. You could just follow this cloud of dust. But then we've got a small herd of about 25 also that comes around onto the property. But what we've noticed now is this year the herds are actually getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is what we want, because, of course, them walking through an environment, they loosen the soil up, and they also drop a lot of poo, which is good fertilizer for the grass. So it depends, but we're hoping to get bigger and bigger and bigger herds. So what we're saying is we think there's about 150 to 200 here, and interestingly enough, we had a meeting about this the other day, and there's always more buffalo than you think there are in a herd. I think if we had to start counting this, we'd probably get to a much higher number. So Lucy, yeah, again, no strict rule to how many there are in a herd. They join up and break off. During drier times, they tend to join up, and then when there's more grass, more water around, they'll break into almost smaller family units. Sophia from Scotland, how old is the oldest buffalo? Sophia, I've actually never Googled the oldest buffalo to have ever lived. I know a book will tell you that they live for up to 23 years, but I do not think we'll find a buffalo on Ngala older than 15 years. I think our lion and hyena population takes care of that. I don't know. Marcel, do you know what the oldest buffalo... I can imagine in a zoo, maybe 24, 25 years old. But I don't know what the oldest buffalo ever was recorded. A very good question, Sophia. I'll actually Google that when I get back to camp this evening. Okay, so we're going to try get to the other side of this herd, see if we can find tracks of this male lion. But for now, I'll send you over to James with a squirrel.
I think it must be very, very difficult to be a buffalo, because to have lions on your tail all day long must be a very frightening and unpleasant thing. Right, we're going to stop over here. We did have a squirrel. He unfortunately took fright, and he's climbing in this tree in front of us there. And then there are some birds calling in the tops of the tree, and let's see if we can spot some of them. I wonder why they're calling like that. Ah, I can see why they're calling. They're calling at an owl. No, it's not an owl. I lied. Not on purpose, though. It's a crested barbet. There's a crested barbet in the tree, and there are also some white-crested helmet shrikes. Have we seen any of those birds? Let's look at the starling. You'll see that one. It's on the far end to the left. Can you see the starling? Not a starling, actually. A fork-tailed drongo. That's quite nice. Can you see him? Center frame. There we are. And then way up, we can hear some chin spot batises calling. Tick, 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 tick. Now, they normally shout like that when they're alarm calling at something. There, right at the top, Owen. Beautiful. So they're either having a territorial fight, or they've seen something that they don't like a snake, perhaps. I think this looks like a territorial battle, though, between two pairs of chin spot batises. Hello, Tessa and Matthew. In theory, it's possible to find the little five here at Djuma, but I've never seen the whole of the little five. So the little five, for those of you who are wondering, oh, that's a brew, that's very special. A brew shrike, and they go brrr, brrr, sound like a telephone. The little five consists of the elephant shrew, that's the one that we really would struggle to find. The rhino beetle, which we've seen from time to time. The red-billed buffalo weaver, so that's pretty easy. Oh, and there's a scimitarbill. The antlion, sorry everybody, I'm just getting distracted by all the beautiful birds. He's just beyond the drongo, which I don't think is actually a drongo, I think it's a black flycatcher. Anyway. Yeah, that's him there. You got him. What am I missing? The leopard tortoise. So that's the small five. Leopard tortoise, easy to find here. Antlion, very easy. Red-billed buffalo weaver, lots. Rhino beetle, not so much. Elephant shrew, difficult. So that's the scimitarbill. This is what's known as a bird party, where birds of different species will gather and feed in a sort of party, I guess, a group. And you can also hear some rattling testiculars shouting. Bzz, 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 bzz. Good. Trishala's managed to find you some pigs.
I have. We found some pigs. There are some lovely warthogs. Now, yes, we have left the hyena den. It's because Ribbon is very sleepy. And I think that we'll go back a little bit later when she's around the actual den entrance, where she's likely to be calling out the cubs. But in the meantime, we have these guys. Hi, Grebe, you're 5 years old and you're from Germany. Oh, Grebe, the warthogs are very excited to hear from you. You'd like to know if animals get ticks or get sick from ticks. Lots and lots of animals host ticks. So ticks need a host from which they suck the blood. And most of them can handle a fairly good tick load. That means that they exist with a certain amount of ticks on them already that don't hurt them and is not bad for them. But sometimes they get too many ticks, and that cannot be good for them, and that can be a bit problematic. But as for specific diseases that they can get, or viruses through ticks, I don't know of specific ones. But sometimes you see animals with lots and lots of ticks, and you can tell that they're not feeling too good. Grebe, this warthog is very curious about you, I think, and about me. Oh, it looks like they're playing. Oh, look at them run. Look at their tails stick up as they run. Isn't that very cool? I think that's very, very cool. Why that tail sticks up? It could be that... I'm just looking at some tracks. It could be that it allows other warthogs that are in their sounder, in their group, and allow other warthogs to see their little tail above the grass and be like, oh, that's where the warthogs run, that's where they are, and I'm going to now follow using that tail. Deshaun, you'd like to know if they're dangerous. Well, they can actually be quite dangerous. You know the big tusks that they have over here? They also have sharp ones at the bottom that meet the tusks there, but you hardly ever get to see those. And every time they put their mouth closed, those top tusks rub against the bottom tusks, and the bottom ones get very, very, very sharp. And those can be quite dangerous. I definitely would not want to meet a warthog where it feels threatened by me and then run at me. Plus, warthogs are quite thick and dense, and they can weigh 90 kgs, some huge ones, more often 70 to 80. And if that runs at you, that's not going to be good. Probably break my legs if it had to run quickly at me. Hi, Emma. You're 3 years old and you're from the USA. I'm so glad that you have asked us a question. You'd like to know if warthogs can jump. They can jump, not very high at all, but they can jump over little sticks and things like that, or onto something. But they definitely can't do high jump. They definitely can't jump over bushes, but they can do little hops. In fact, while they were running now, you would have seen that they do a bit of a hop before they start running. We're now here at a treehouse dam, where I was hoping maybe there were some elephants. But as you can see things are pretty quiet. I must say the water's looking quite nice though. the den is not far from here, so hyenas come down here quite a bit. And they even swim in here. And they dive down. And then you won't see them for a couple seconds. And then they pop their heads back up, sometimes even with a stick, because they like to play. Alright, let us go now, I think, towards the riverbed here. And while we do that, we'll send you over to Rowan for a bit of an update on what's going on at andBeyond's Ngala.
So we checked the other side of the buffalo herd and no lion yet, no Ross male. So maybe what he's done is gone into the river and found a shady spot and just spent the rest of the day there. It did actually warm up quite nicely. So our plan for now is to go into the southwestern part of andBeyond Ngala, see what is on that side. We haven't really driven there in quite a time. So we think we're just going to explore a little bit. And then, of course, later on when it cools down a little bit, we'll come back into this area and see if any of the lions, any of those two lions start like roaring or moaning. Tony's asked if our lions eat birds. Tony, I think they're not, I mean, maybe an ostrich, absolutely, they'll hunt, but like any cat, I think if the opportunity presents itself, it would most likely go after a bird. But I think to try chase down one of these lapwings would be a bit of wasted energy. But I think if they come across a dead bird, then yes, absolutely, Tony, they will eat it. So any opportunity if it's there. But I've never seen them actually the cubs I've seen chasing and trying to stalk birds. But I know leopards are more likely to go for birds than lions would be. Being that big, I don't think a bird really offers that much of a meal. Or the Impala's on rat now, and so what happens every single time you drive past, you hear psh, and they lift up their heads and they do this gargling noise. We love it. Sorry, I'm missing the name, but I know I've got a question from India. I think Andrew. What is the trickiest animal to spot? Pangolins are very hard to find. Warthog and vid. Okay, sorry, and vid from India. What is the trickiest animal to spot? I think pangolin, warthog, they are notoriously hard to find, but also due to their nature, secretive and very secretive and nocturnal around here on andBeyond Ngala. Secretive, of course, yeah. To spot, I know a leopard can hide very well. We don't see caracal often, even though they are here. Serval, same thing. I think all of those would be very difficult to spot. Some old leopard poo that we just drove past. It's quite hairy. Maybe at the end of a carcass. Okay, so while we head into the southwest, we're going to send you back to James for an update.
We are heading down towards Chitwa Waterhole, which is a big dam southeast of Djuma. And some of these names might be a bit confusing, but we don't only drive on one reserve, which is Djuma, we also drive on Chitwa, which is southeast of Djuma. It's all very complicated. The animals don't. They don't know what's called, and they don't need to know. Ah, there's something I have not seen for a very long time. Hello. We should see them all the time, but we haven't seen them for a long time. a zebra, and a pig who is his friend. Wilberforce the warthog, and can't think of the zebra's name. Zelda. What a lovely name. And another pig, 2 pigs, and a horse. A lovely question this morning about whether or not we get wild horses in Africa, which in theory we do. This is them. Zebras are horses to a certain extent. There are different species of horse from the domestic variety, but they are a horse. We also get something called a wild ass, but we don't get the wild ass here. I must say, I think it's very unfortunate if you belong to a species known as the wild ass. He's very peacefully eating. I think it's a he. It's most likely a young male, a young stallion, who's trying to find his way in the world, like all men and all male mammals must. It's all very peaceful here right now. We are going to be heading towards, hopefully, a leopard that we had this morning, but we'll see. Let's just see if we can be very quiet and see if you can hear anything. I can hear Cape turtle doves. I can hear flies. That's about all. Yes, Joey, it is true. A fork-tailed drongo is able to imitate other birds. I'm not sure about other animals. I'm not sure I'd heard it do other animals, but I'm sure it could probably imitate other animals. They do the pearl-spotted owl, not very well. They do... what else they do? They do the francolins quite well, not very well. They're not as good as, say, a parrot at learning other birds' calls, but they're not bad. The best mimic I ever heard was a humble sabota lark, and it did lots and lots of different calls, almost exactly. The only way you could tell the difference was that its tone, because it's such a tiny bird, the size of its pharynx, or it's for what you and I might call the voice box, the size of its pharynx was so small compared with some of the other birds that it was trying to imitate that the tone was a little bit high. But otherwise the rhythm was exact. The zebra does indeed have a short tail. He's lost some of it, possibly to a lion, possibly to ticks. So he may have had a cut there that the ticks got into, and then have basically eaten his tail off, which would be very unpleasant, I think. Right, Rayon is a clever 8-year-old, and he has not bought the story that the zebra is striped like that because it blends in, because to tell anybody that those stripes are helping the zebra blend in would be to basically lie. I mean, it's the most obvious animal there. There are 2 warthogs in that picture. You can't even see them. So no, we don't think that the stripes are there to help them blend in. We think maybe the stripes have got some kind of function in predator avoidance. So when it's dusk and that animal is moving through some thick bush, it might be that the stripes help to break up the outline, which might make it a little bit more difficult for a lion, say, to pick which direction it's running. Not sure if that's true or not. The most positive research that I have read about is that they are apparently effective at avoiding flies. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, experiments have shown that flies are less likely to land on a striped surface like that than they are to land on a solid surface. So it's quite probable that the zebra is that way because it helps it avoid ectoparasites. Now, it begs the question, well, why isn't anything else striped then? Because surely flies and ticks and everything else affects all the other mammals out here. And the answer is probably because evolution hasn't thought of it for them. If that makes any sense to you. I'm not sure how much you know about biology and evolution, but that's basically what it is. And also, there's a cost to being that color and having that complicated stripe pattern. It's a physiological cost, and, well, I guess other species just haven't invested in it. Nice question. Most impressive from an 8-year-old. Oh, there we go. Stephen, that's wonderful. You say in David Attenborough's series, Africa, a drongo mimics a meerkat and gets itself a scorpion meal. I'm sure David Attenborough would be very complimented that you called it his series. I think he just voiced it, but everybody thinks that he wrote it and came up with it, and of course it was successful because of his magnificent voice and all that he's done for conservation. That's really interesting. I didn't know that, and it is entirely possible. That's fascinating, actually. Very nice little zebra sighting we're having here. And as the light softens, we'll probably start to head off towards the leopard. Hello, Storm, all the way in Singapore. We can tell the difference between a male and a female zebra by looking between their back legs. That's the easiest way to tell. You can see if they're a male or a female. If a female's not facing you, if a mare is not facing you, she'll lift her tail. If she lifts her tail, you can see very clearly that it's a female or a male. So those are two ways. But what's tricky in zebra is that the males and females are very similarly sized. So a big stallion is much bigger than a small mare, but a smallish stallion and a big mare can be almost identical sized. So you have to look for things like the thickness of the neck and a slightly different shape. The male will have a slightly hollower back, so a deeper bow in his back, and he might have a slightly more rounded tummy as opposed to a flatter one. But it's really difficult to tell unless you can see their private parts. Oof, what a beautiful, peaceful, lovely winter afternoon. Hello, Poppy in the United Kingdom. Zebras probably live around about 15 years, potentially. I suspect if they lived in captivity, where lions weren't going to try and eat them, they might live a little bit longer than that. Maybe up to 20 years if they didn't have a hard life. Sometimes they probably make it up to 20 years here, but probably around 15. He thinks that's the right answer. Or he's just thought to himself, is that all I've got? All right, that's the end of our specialised kids session, but kids, you can carry on asking questions, and the rest of you who have been dying to ask us questions can now use the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Otherwise, you may use the chat stream on YouTube or on Twitch. Send us your questions, comments, insults, jokes, general banter, and we'll do our best to entertain you with the answers. I feel I have now milked this zebra sighting for all it is worth, and so we are going to move from here and head on. David Hughes, I don't do the David Attenborough voice. This is largely because I can't, and also because he's such a doyen, he's such an icon, that it feels almost blasphemous. And I know it's totally ridiculous, but it feels almost sacrilegious to try and take him off. I suspect I'd probably get over that if I could do a good one, but I can't. I have tried. Let's go across to Trishala now and ask her perhaps to do a David Attenborough impression. It'll probably be really good.
Hello everyone, welcome aboard to all the others. James wants me to do a David Attenborough impression. I'll have to find an appropriate sighting. He's one of my heroes, David Attenborough is. I love him so much. I think he's a very sweet old man. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. He looks lovely. He looks like you could invite him over for dinner and he'd just get along with you perfectly and have brilliant conversation. That's how I feel about David Attenborough, as well as Roger Federer. Both I feel I could invite to dinner, perhaps together. That would be ideal. Anyway. I am looking for some more leopard tracks. I managed to find some female leopard tracks without any cub tracks around here, but there's also very nice drainage. And I'm now trying to figure out if they're old or they're new, because they're spotty, the tracks and the leopard. But the tracks are coming and going. Some look alright from today and some look not from today. Maybe from a couple of days ago, and now I've lost them. Mrs. Lapwing, you'd like to know if I could add George Clooney into that dinner date? Oh, but then Mrs. Lapwing, I'd have to put a place for you, I'm sure, as well. George Clooney's gonna come over. I mean, I like George Clooney, but do I like him as much as Roger Federer and David Attenborough? No. Massive Federer fan. Massive. I would like to add maybe Ben Kingsley to that list as well, though. That would be nice. As you can see, most of the men that I'm inviting to this dinner party are not eligible young men. Mrs. Lapwing, you say you accept my dinner invite. All right, I'll let you know when I round up all of those fellows. I will let you know. Maybe they're watching and they want to come to dinner. Timmy, you'd like to know why do the animals walk on the road? To me. You'd like to know why they walk on the road? Because, without sounding philosophical, but essentially it's the same thing. Most things in the natural environment, most things in nature will look for the easiest possible way to get somewhere, to do something, to move, whatever it is. The path of least resistance. And walking on the road includes a path of least resistance. It means that you don't have to put up with maybe thorns, branches, wet grass, or things in the grass, less bugs, etc. And it's not simply a choice, but something that we're all naturally programmed to do. Not the easiest part. The easiest part's something a little bit different, because that means that you're losing quality, or you could be losing quality if you're taking the easiest path, but of least resistance to the same achievement, or whatever it is that you want to get. That's why they walk on the roads. Of course, they don't always walk on the roads, and the same applies for animal paths. That's paths in the grass that are constantly used by animals. Again, least resistance. The grass doesn't grow as well there, and they literally create a path. There's a very nice drainage to the south of Elephant Carcass Road. And I suspect that that leopard has gone into that drainage, but I don't think it was fresh, and I don't think it's from today. Hi, Gray and Eaton. You'd like to know, do the big cats only eat meat, or do they sometimes eat plants? They are what we call obligate carnivores. That means they're obligated to eat meat. They have to eat meat in order to survive. They can occasionally eat vegetation, but they don't have the digestive system in order to get much nutrients from it at all. So it could be used for a different reason. Oh, Hippo is here. That different reason you may have seen maybe with your cat or your dog, where it goes and eats some grass, and they can use it as a purgative. It can help them throw up if they have eaten something that doesn't sit well. Also, those bits, those little hairs on grass and things like that, can assist with actually scraping parasites off the sides of the stomach and intestines. Doesn't that just sound great? Even our hippo thinks this is a bit ew. Come on, just to say hello. Then I'll let you go back in. Hi, Connie in Switzerland. I'm going to grab that question again. I got only the tail end of it, about red eyes and ears and how they protect themselves, but... hippos. That is an excellent question. How do hippos protect themselves from the sun, considering they have quite red eyes and ears? Now, that's a really smart question, because you already know that if that is the case, then they are lacking melanin in those spaces. But they have a very special secretion that they can push through the pores in their skin. There's hipposudoric acid and norhipposudoric acid, and both of those can actually act as a sunscreen for the hippos. Oh, we're just talking about you. Also, you can see that the actual eye is deeply set in the kind of hump or the socket for the eye. So the actual eyeball is protected. And you'll find that also most of the time it's the inner ear. Hello, you also want to make an appearance. It is the inner ear that is pink. This is a red-billed oxpecker making an appearance. It's shouting, it's drinking, and now it has a friend. And bye-bye. Thank you, Hippo. Well, I'm going to send you over to some more exciting things. I'll let James show you what that is.
Look at this, we've managed to come right with our kitty cats. Or it's certainly one of them anyway. Oh, there are 2 leopards here. Kuchava the leopard is aged 6-ish. And there is her son, who is yet to be named, and he's 7 months old. There's also a carcass in the tree, or in a bush not far from here. The cub is quite nervous and hides very, very well, obviously. I don't know if we're going to have both of them or not. I'll just scan around the place here. And I think we'll park off here for the rest of the afternoon. Hello, Oscar. I think this is cool as well. I think this is very cool indeed. Yes, Miss Anamandris, the male cub is a bit of a nervous Ned, but we'll take it. We've got such a beautiful sighting right now. Just magical stuff. And there are lots of very beautiful flowers. The purple ones that you can see are the Vernonia flowers that have bloomed in the late summer. And there's some, that's all the purple ones that we can see. And it is the most still afternoon, isn't it? Just this gentle breeze coming out of the north. Leopards, Lewis, I think much like dogs, if a leopard was to snap at a fly and get it into its mouth, it'll probably swallow it, yeah, for sure. Leopards will eat insects. They'll eat termites. And I think as youngsters especially, they'll do a great deal of insect eating, insectivory. So I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of action here until it cools down a bit, but just being in the presence of that cat is spectacular. So we won't ask for too much. We won't ask for the river dance or a great deal of enthusiastic leaping up and down, exercising, ballet. Yes, indeed, everybody, the kill is still here. It is underneath the bush in which it has been the whole time. And it's starting to smell pretty rank. We must not lie about that. And they're totally alert all the time, these cats. I don't know that they ever sleep like we do as human beings. You'll hear a bit of sound, and that is the another vehicle. Murray, my favourite leopard is old Tingana. And that's just because he's old and he's defied the odds. He's a real example of how to live a considered life of dominance. Knows what risks to take, knows what risks not to take. And so he is my favourite. That said, sitting with him is sometimes a little trying because he can be quite a boring cat in that he doesn't do a great deal. But it's because of that approach to life that he's been so very successful. But I'll take any leopard. I'll tell you what. I'll take any leopard. There's the cub. There's the cub just behind. Just quickly up. There you go. Thank you, Peggy. Yeah, I agree completely. We are so lucky to have Kuchava for a few days. And the little cub, who's just a bit nervous. And he got a bit unnerved by that vehicle moving next to us. It's not the vehicle's fault. It just drove over a stump. And he just got a little bit afraid, poor fellow. He's gone behind it. Did you see him? Yeah, don't worry about him now. We'll just leave him and let him calm. She's calling him again. She's just basically saying to him, it's all okay. Don't worry about it. It's all chilled. There she's calling again. There he is. Oh, and he's just there. Can you see that? Can you see him there? He's just in the middle of that thicket. He's moving towards her now. He's just coming slowly forward towards her. He wants to be around her, but he's nervous of us. But I've got to tell you, even since this morning, this approach is different. He's definitely starting to habituate slowly. I think he's going to go to ground where he is now, though. I don't think he's going to pop out. But he might. You can just see the bushes moving there. Now, a lot of people think that being a wildlife filmmaker is the world's most romantic, action-packed job. It is. Let's not beat around the bush. It's much better than being an accountant or a lawyer or a politician or whatever else. But there's a lot of this kind of stuff. There's a huge amount of sitting around and waiting for animals to behave. And so you need to feel that sense of privilege to be out here. You need a tremendous sense of patience. And sometimes you just need to carry a good book with you. And she's gone to say hello to him and tell him it's all fine. That these vehicles don't mean no harm. That's called a two-spot visual, everyone. Just saying hello to the little one, making sure that he feels okay, and she's chuffing at him. She's going. I think she's going to try and take him to the kill. Now let's see if the cub comes out. She's just moving past us. She's going to go down through this little gap here. Just move slowly, slowly, slowly. Because the cub won't come out otherwise. She's now behind this bush, is she? There's probably a lot of good shade there. So the cub is still in here. I think we're just going to let things settle down a bit, and you're going to go back over to andBeyond and Ngala and see what's happening with Roan over there. We'll bring you straight back here if something happens. She's calling.
So not too much has changed our side. We came to the southwest and there's actually nothing here for now. A bit of a slow start. We are now on a road called Morganson's Cut Line, and it's the rockiest, well, it's one of the rockiest roads on the reserve, so I have to drive quite slow. Though Marcel was saying that, you know, he was craving a massage, so this was the best. This was the best I could do for him. Right, he's saying it forces his spine in the right direction. I don't know why it's in the wrong direction, but whatever I can do to help. Oof. Yeah, nice little bumpy road. I'd rather keep my eyes on the road than on the camera for now. But yeah, slow start, which is quite nice. We are now heading back up north and going to start making our way into the direction where we left the male lions this morning, although it might take us a while. I think this road's another 10 minutes. I mean, it's not even far. It's probably about 400 meters to the next junction, but these rocks just make it so slow. It's funny, it's one of those... Sorry, Kurs, can you repeat that? Oh, okay. Who's the best hunter out of animals in Africa that we might see? Wild dogs? Wild dogs. About 90% of the time when they go hunting, they are successful. I think lions are on about a 30% success rate, and leopards maybe about 30 to 40. Black-footed cat. There's a tiny thing hunting mice. I think servals are actually quite successful as well, but I think of all the predators in Africa, wild dogs are the most successful. I know it's one of the first facts we actually learn when learning about wild dogs. Very cool hunters. Also, I think because they work in packs, it might be a lot easier for them. You know, spread out in the way they hunt, they do things. Although we used to be told that there's a lot of there's a lot of communication between them. Let me rather walk. Just keep staring forward when they do go hunt. But the way they
Sorry about that. She's gone into the kill and it sounds a little bit like she's trying to take it out. So I'm just going to try and get in there. I wonder if finally she isn't going to try and hoist it. Yeah, there's a lot of movement there. She might try and hike it out of the bush in which it is. Oh, it's a lovely 3-spot visual now. The wrong kinds of spots because they're on the rear end. How's that, Owen? Is it right? Now, I was saying this morning that it's obvious now why we haven't seen a lot of leopards in trees with kills. There's just so much bush involved. There's so many thickets that they can hide their kills in. Although, the northwest breeze is a second to none. A stink of putrefaction, which I always think is quite a good word. No, Dove, this cub is not female. We all thought it was female. I'm not sure why we thought it was female. The shortest glance underneath its tail will reveal to you 2 golden orbs, which can only be the preserve, or which are the preserve of the male of the species. It depends on the age of the leopard, but basically the biggest threat to a leopard in the bush is a lion, followed closely by a hyena, and if it's a young leopard like this youngster here of 7 months or so, it's much more likely that his greatest threat is going to be an unrelated male leopard. And so it's hugely important that the father, if he is the father, the territorial male of this area, who we think is more Wati, if he is somehow ousted while this cub is, say, under a year, 2 years old, he'll be in some distress, or there could be some real threat to him. 80% of young leopards die at the claws and teeth of unrelated male leopards. Isn't that quite something? So the greatest threat to a young leopard is another leopard. And while that sounds cruel, and it is cruel and it's horrible, it's the history of many, many mammals. So many mammal social structures have evolved around trying to avoid infanticide by unrelated males who want to try and bring females back into estrus so that they can father children with them. And interestingly, even our own species, it would indicate that there is quite a lot of that too in our history. So she's feeding here. She did try and call him. I don't know that he'll come just yet. I think he might need to just settle a bit. If we don't have him to move around too much, he might come out. But I don't think he's seen many vehicles. And he might just be of a slightly nervous disposition, like some kids are, you know. We were asked this morning how long I thought this would last, and I said probably 4 days or so. And this is now day number Sunday to Monday, Monday to Tuesday. Yeah, I'm still going to say around about 4 days. We're on about 48 hours of this putrefied carcass, and as long as it isn't stolen, it could last another 2 days. I must say it is quite difficult to imagine that something smelling like this won't be picked up by a hyena during the course of the next 24 hours. As the Djuma clan slowly comes to life. Yeah, many of you ask why there are no hyenas. I can only think that they're all upwind of it. This is the territory of the Djuma clan, and I guess they're just eating other things. It does seem odd though, because even yesterday it was starting to niff quite substantially. Molly, the cubs can climb trees probably from as early as 6 weeks. So definitely that cub can climb trees. He's 7 months old. Tundi's got cubs that are between probably 8 and 10 weeks old. I showed the pictures to Tristan the other day, who's a great leopard expert. He reckoned at least 10, maybe even 11 or 12 weeks old. And they could have been, or they will have been climbing from the time they were about 6 to 8 weeks old. And that obviously is hugely helpful for defense, etc. You might be hearing some voices about what we're doing here. There is a crew from CNN doing a bit of, I suppose, reporting on what we do, especially during lockdown. So those are the voices you can hear. She looks fascinated by the whole process, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Now, I've eaten off all of the ribs there, but we're going to now go across to Trishala because I believe she has got something in her eye, and I don't think it's an apple.
There's not an apple in my eye, but something has flown into my eye. Then I managed to shift my contact thinking it's that, and then managed to get underneath it. So at some point, I will stop and sort that out, but for now you have a squinting me. Do you remember the time that a bug flew into my eye and then I took it out and it cleaned itself and flew away? I'm reminded of that time. Hopefully it's not a bug though. That was so strange. Anyway, we are going to go back to the hyena den in about 20 minutes or so. But we're just here now on Hyena Road, heading up north. I remember that last night I heard lions roaring, and I wasn't sure if we went up north this morning, so I thought let's just go in case along the boundary. Maybe see if there's any elephants around. That would be awesome. Hi, Leave It Wild. You say you like my scientific ways. Is anyone else in my family a scientist? I am the black sheep. My parents are teachers. My brother is a market analyst. And my grandmother's my grandmother. So I am a black sheep. Although my uncle is an engineer, a mechanical engineer, but I am definitely the only natural history kind of gal out there. But I must say, thankfully, that nobody stopped me from wanting to be a scientist, even though that was not the career paths that any of them had chosen. Even in my extended family, there are not any scientists. At least not that I can think of for now. There's a few doctors, of course. Is an Indian family complete without one? But otherwise, lots of lawyers. Lots and lots of lawyers. I was the flowery sunchild that was running outside and playing with stuff and cutting stuff up, while everyone very nicely said, "That's good for you, Trish. Good for you, but I'm not too interested. But at least now I have all of you." Garden poet, you say I'm a green sheep, not a black sheep. Aww. Thank you very much. I like that. I think I'm a green sheep. I do love science, and I think that if I can inspire people to be excited about natural everything, be curious about it, and be able to appreciate how science can make things even more beautiful. Because you think, oh, if you explain it or you over-explain it, then perhaps it loses some of its majesty. But no, it doesn't. It increases it. It reminds you just how complex it is. You knew this flower was beautiful, but did you know when the light does this or that, then chemical reactions are changing inside to be able to turn it from this color to that color? The more I learn, the more curious I become. Really, if I can impart that on kids especially, then I am a happy chappy who has done their job. I'm quite comfortable in my science nerdiness. I'm a cool nerd though, you know. Kirst laughed. Hi David, you're 14 years old from the USA. You'd like to know if carcasses ever go to waste in the bush. No, that never happens. Because if an animal, a large animal that makes that kill, doesn't eat that carcass or decides to abandon that carcass, something else will come along. If nothing else comes along that'll actively eat that carcass, like a hyena or the vultures or other scavengers, then insects come along, flies come along, carcass beetles come along, a whole host of other invertebrates come to have a nibble. And then if that really doesn't happen and nobody wants to eat this carcass, it still won't go to waste, because it will disintegrate. It'll break up into pieces and it will nourish the soil. All those components that are in the animal's flesh and bones and fat and other liquids, mucus in its body, all of that will seep now down into the ground, and it'll enrich that soil. So it never goes to waste. In fact, what is waste? Is there even such a thing as waste? When we throw something in a bin, what is throwing it away? Do we throw it away? Where does it go? It just goes to another spot. It does something else. That's why it's important to be able to know just how much you are throwing away. Because a lot of the time, all you're doing is moving trash or waste from one spot to another. But the earth is a system that makes use of everything. And recently some bacteria has been found that actually uses plastic to metabolize. Ideonella sakiensis is the name of that bacteria. Oh, hello. It was discovered in Japan, and it can actually use plastic, metabolized plastic. It's definitely worth a read, and we can discuss it later if you'd like. And now, we have found none other than someone of South Africa's Big Five. It is the buffalo. Yes, hello you. I do see you. I can see quite a large boss on the head. That will indicate that this is a male. Also, he looks a little old. As they get older, that middle part actually separates a little bit. You get two very thick, distinct sides. So I think what we have here is in fact a Daga boy. As you can see the Daga on him. Daga means mud. He's probably been wallowing in the pans that are not far from here, in fact just in that dip. I haven't seen a buff in a while, yet this buff still seems to think that I owe it money, hence the stare. Oh wow, thank you everybody. My eye is now better because I've been talking to you. So whatever it was must have flown off. Or perhaps it was you, gentle buff. Hi, Rain. You are 16 years old. You'd like to know, do buffaloes stay in a specific area or do they move around or migrate often? They don't have specific migratory parts, but they do move around a lot. They don't hang around in specific areas. The area that they are seeking is somewhere with good grass and good water. I still see you. So they move around a wide range of habitats and have quite a large distribution. Basically, wherever it's suitable, wherever there's water, shade, good grass, that is the place to go. Oh, you have a bit of a stubby tail. Thank you, Davy. Davy was trying to show you the tail, I promise. I promise. Let's follow him for a little bit. He's actually... he is... Okay, I'm going to turn around and see if we can catch him again. I'm on the northern boundary, so I'm going to send you over to Rowan for an update while I catch up with our Duggar boy here. Oh no, we've lost Rowan, everyone. He's gone off-road with Marcel, I think. Alright. Sorry, guys. You're stuck with me for now. I think my hypothesis is that Rowan heard one of Marcel's facts and then collapsed in sheer awe of Marcel's capacity to store information. Hello, Heidi. You're 11 years old and you're from New Zealand. You would like to know... Oh, there you are. You would like to know if a leopard can kill a buffalo. I'm going to stay here for now because he's going to cross. Excuse that branch. A leopard does have the ability to kill a buffalo. It will generally be a small animal, though. It would have to be a large leopard. But the largest... Leopards have taken small buffalo before. But the largest animal that a leopard has taken has been a 900 kg eland that a single leopard had taken down. So, you know, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility. Hey, short tail. Hi, Mahi. You're 10 years old and you're from India. You'd like to know, why does this buffalo keep staring at me? We usually say it's because they think we owe them money. They do. They stare intently. You should see how he stared at me. Like this. Like he thinks I owe him something. But he's looking to check whether I'm a threat or not. And buffalo have a very interesting temperament. And sometimes they can be difficult to predict. So their first line of defense is to look at you and just let you know, you do anything to me, I'm going to be coming after you. And they can be very aggressive. The buffaloes is one of those animals that if you are a hunter, which is how basically the word Big Five or the phrase Big Five came around, was those animals that are hardest to hunt out in the bush. And a buffalo, if you find yourself on foot with a buffalo, you are dead. I see him too. Oh, got a bit of shake. You just watch Mahi. He's gonna look at me again. He's still looking at me. Just tell me when you get a shot there, Davy. Okay. A little more. giving us a proper stare. Magic Dragon Wizard, you reckon this buffalo needs to blow its nose? Well, I have only a scarf that I can offer it on your behalf. And definitely some leaky nose going on there. But I think I'll reserve this opportunity, keep it for another time, to help the buff clean its nose. It really is very moist. Now, animals' noses are moist because it helps them to pick up scents. Once a scent in the air that's airborne can be absorbed into that moisture. Anyway, I think this buff is feeling harassed now. So I'm going to send you over to James instead and see what he's harassing.
Well, I am hopefully not harassing anything except the intellect, vast that it is, of Judy H. Now, Owen, please find the purple flower. Judy H. has finally and mercifully come up with the real name of what we call not Phenonia. There it is. Polydora. Polydora poskina. Polydora poskina. Thank you, Judy H. Polydora poskina. I don't know why I find that funny, but it is quite funny. Polydora. We're just going to clean a spider web off the lens. Thank you very much, Judy. All right, we're sitting here now with both cats. There is Mama Cat. Bebe Cat is just inside the bush there, and he's slowly relaxing with us being around. There is Bebe Cat. Oh, the Joseph clan. I wonder if this question is coming from the older members of the clan as perhaps a hint to the younger members of the clan. Joseph clan, what you will find is that the young leopard is like the young human being, where he does not actually help until you forcibly eject him from the house. So he will not help his mother to hunt at all. And in fact, what he'll start to do as he gets bigger than her is monopolize food. She won't mind for hugely. She'll allow it to happen. She'll allow it. In some cases, I suppose, would have to allow it. But, it's not unusual for a male cub aged 2.5 to 3 years to come and pinch his mother's food. So they don't help with the killing at all, ever. And the same goes for, I suppose, cheetah to a certain extent might help a little bit when they get old enough, probably pushing 18 months odd, but mostly they don't. And in lion prides, before 18 months, the cubs are just a total hindrance to any hunt. And there's some debate always, whenever we have this discussion about whether or not a leopard cub is taught to hunt, or whether or not she or he learns to hunt on his own. From my observations, I am convinced that they are 95% doing it out of instinct, like a house cat does. Unlike a cheetah, she won't bring back half-dead stuff to him to kill. It has been recorded, but it's not something that happens by default, and he will start killing stuff. He will have killed things already, even things as small as termites. But he will have, when she goes off hunting, at age 7 months, he's going to be killing stuff on his own. Nobody's giving him an instruction manual on how to do that. He's learning by trial and error. There probably is more teaching than we think is going on because we don't understand the communication fully. But by and large, the hunting is an instinctual behavior. Ooh. No, Kruger Cougar. What a name you have. Kruger Cougar? No. Well, their leopards do look us in the eyes. I'm not sure that they're making eye contact, but they look us in the face. I don't think that it means anything. I have looked long and hard into the eyes of a lion, and you'll hear some people say that if you see a lion on foot, you mustn't look it in the eye. I really think there are very few people who've ever had time or wherewithal to stand and look at a lion and then look at the ground and decide which resulted in a better reaction from the charging cat. I don't think they notice. I don't think they're like dogs. I think it's much more like a house cat, where if you look at a house cat in the eyes, it just kind of looks at you and says, yeah, so what? But if you look at a dog in the eye, it has an immediate response. Either it backs away, or it gets excited, or it sees it as a challenge. And I just don't think the cats are the same. There's a lovely story that my friend Alex van den Heever tells about being charged by a leopardess, and his tracker, who was standing behind him at the time, because he fell over as she charged, he'd got a fright, took one step backwards and fell over a log. And Renius Mhlongo, who was the tracker and is a massively experienced human being, said, just keep your eyes down, keep your face down. And that's always interested me because I've not noticed it myself. That said, I've never been on my back with a charging leopard. I don't think it can do any harm to keep your eyes averted if there is the slightest chance that you think you might provoke a further attack, but I don't think that it provokes an attack with cats. And remember that dogs and cats have a unique relationship with human beings, or a different relationship from each other with humans. Dogs actually produce oxytocin. Domestic dogs produce oxytocin when they interact with their humans, and humans produce oxytocin when they interact with their dogs. And as far as we know, that's the only cross-species, what's the word I'm looking for? It's the only cross-species incidence of the secretion of this hormone. And the hormone is a social hormone. It's the hormone of sociality, if you like, in very simple terms. It's a hormone of sociality. And so the unique reaction that a dog has to a human being looking it in the face, I really do think makes a difference to whether or not cats would react in the same way, because house cats don't produce that same hormone with their humans. They have other very pleasant responses, but it's not evolved. It's not physiologically evolved in the same way that a dog's has. Yes, Sammy Jane, you could indeed hear a pearl-spotted owl calling. It was going as follows. Now, let's see if it calls. If it's still around. The leopard actually looked at me with a side eye, as if to say, shut up, I'm trying to sleep. Oh, I remember now, I have to give all the headphone wearers a warning before I do that. I have just done the pearl-spotted owl call, so it's too late, isn't it? Hooray, we have got Mr. Rowan at andBeyond Ngala, who has managed to find you a lioness. Nope, we're gonna stay here. Rowan has not got signal. He's got a lion, but he has not got a signal. And so we will sit and stay awake with these little leopards. Lot little, one relatively big, the other Lion eyes, you're wondering which is stronger, a tiger or a leopard? Well, given that a tiger weighs, big tiger 350 kilograms, and a leopard about 45 kilograms, I think we can safely say that a tiger is substantially stronger than a leopard. They do occur in the same places. In some parts of India, you can apparently find tigers and leopards, but I don't think, if I stand to be corrected here, I don't think they live in the same proximity as lions and leopards, and that's simply because they have the same kind of niche. Let's go to Rowan now. He's got a lioness, and she's hopefully walking towards the car.
Okay, so it's not exactly how we planned it. I mean, we wanted to go down the river to see if we can find, this one's brother. So this is the young lioness. This is the one that has the cubs. We haven't seen the cubs again since she moved them to the northern bank. But yeah, I mean, it's always nice coming around a corner and then boom, there's a lioness. Marcel's massage came to an abrupt end, if you can call it that. Quite bumpy, you know. So she's coming straight past us now, and there's also two buffalo bulls lying down behind us. Don't think she'll be hunting buffalo bull. I think she's just checking out the area. You can actually hear her breathing now. Hello, girl. It's quite nice her walking past so close to us, because you can see on her teats that two teats have been suckled, which just reaffirms that she has the two youngsters. So now she can see the buffalo. So I'm gonna just end like that. Interesting. So Kirst told me earlier that apparently Giraffe Girl googled the oldest buffalo in the world, and it was a buffalo called Wheezy. Got to, 34 in Oklahoma Zoo. So you can see she's now seen the buffalo's seen her. Again, to reiterate, she's not going to hunt the buffalo. I think that's a little bit too big for her to take down by itself. It's just two big buffalo bulls. I think she's just scanning the area. She might have to go out hunting tonight. She doesn't look too thin, but it might be time to eat again. There we go. Okay, we'll just relax for a little bit. Again, beautiful setting right in the riverbed. Really, our lions are performing very well. Nice and open areas. Kathleen, I believe I made your day, or the lioness rather made your day, for just appearing around the bend, so I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy to see her again. I love this lioness, absolutely gorgeous. Stunning face as well. There she goes again. Okay, so I'm just going to stop and let her walk in front. Luckily, I can't drive into any rocks. They're quite fun. Can't open. She's just urinating quick. But it's strange that she's walking straight towards these buffaloes. And of course the buffalo, they have not moved at all. They're just watching us. So Jessica's asked if Lioness can get killed by male lions, and absolutely, Jessica, it does happen. Sometimes the lionesses, of course, when male lions come in, they take over territories, and what this means is that they often kill the cubs. So what would happen is the lionesses get very defensive, and sometimes it just leads to their death as they try and defend the cubs, and the male lion, being larger and stronger and a bit more aggressive, could kill a lioness. It's a standoff. She's watching, the buffalo's watching, we're watching. The sand here is quite soft, so we're just driving slowly forward. It's like she's more focused on something on the southern bank. I think she might be watching vultures coming into land. So we have a lot of vultures that are nesting in this area along the Djuma River. We're just trying to get in front of her so you can get a beautiful facial shot. We're not going to go too far in front of her. I don't want to position us between her and the buffalo, so they must see each other at all times. A big elephant digging hole in front of me. Oh, she really does have a gorgeous face. There we go. Apparently a lot of people want an update on the Birmingham male. We've not seen him yet. We were on our way there. In all honesty, I wouldn't worry too much about it. The last time he had a very bad injury and he could not walk 4 meters before lying down again. And this morning, we found him walking and roaring. So let's see. We probably can't give you a daily update because these animals move a lot. But you'll kind of just have to wait for about 2 weeks and then see if he's still around, which I believe he would be. But yeah, we'll go look for him in a little while. Just want to see what his sister is up to. I'm not too phased about the buffalo. The one male buffalo has not taken his eyes off the lioness. Of course, she'll be a lot quicker than the buffalo running through sand. She's just also listening to the area, any sign of predators, any sign of other lions. And this being very close to her den site. Camo pug, she is rather focused. Like I said, I think she's just scanning the area, like listening out. You can see her eyes are drooping every now and then a little bit until she hears another sound, and then she focuses in that direction. It's like she's just making sure everything is still okay around her den site. And her looking up like that just catching her attention, is a vulture going down. So of course, if there were vultures circling, lions often see this and they go into that area to see if there's anything they can scavenge. So that vulture's just coming down to land now on its nest. And you'll see her eyes droop down again. Focus gone. I bet you she's thinking, oh, if the rest of my pride is here, maybe we could take down one of those buffalo. Although, I think the distance between them, it's about 250 meters. It'd be quite tough to stalk. So we're going to spend a bit of time here, let it cool down. But for now, I'll send you to Trish, who's got a baby elephant.
I do have a baby, but I'm staying with that little one, or that bigger one that's out there at the moment, because that one's trunk seems to be stuck on its tusk. But it's all out now. It almost looked like a bit of a knot. Hi. This is awesome. The light is beautiful. And I really wanted to see some elephants today. little tusk, or little trunk rather, coming out. Hello. After a bit of a drink, have to have a snack, right? And now they're moving swiftly off. There's one more straggler left in the bushes there. I think I might wait for that straggler. There's always one or two stragglers. One that gets a bit too concentrated and feeding. Inevitably, they're left behind. Well, they're now behind us, so we're going to have to move about a little bit. You can just see tail there. So let's reverse. See what we can get. They're on the other side now. Oh, it's just beautiful. The light is just stunning. Let's watch this little baby for a moment. Oh, let's go round. Oh. Hello. This one got a bit of bravado with us. As they begin to walk off, they're now on the other side. There we go. Quite a small herd. But I'm sure the rest of the family is not far behind. I think that largest individual that we saw, the one that was drinking, she was probably the one who is the matriarch, at least, of this little herd. Isn't it just beautiful? There's nothing quite like the sight of elephants in the setting sun in Africa, is there? Gorgeous. It's perfect. Well, after this I'm going to head over to the hyena den and hopefully be able to see the cubs, but I'm going to send you back over to James with his own cub.
Here we are with our very flat cats. Young Uchava did give us a quite interesting display of fly catching. It wasn't tremendously successful, but it was interesting nevertheless. Maybe she'll be lucky with some more fly catching shortly. But the sun has slowly started to sink, and I'm hopeful, therefore, that there will be something akin to action going on here at some stage fairly soon. The habituation process can take from never to a couple of days, so there we go. If this cub grows up from very early on with vehicles and doesn't learn to associate them with danger, then the habituation will be quick. If it has a brave personality, or less than, I don't want to call him cowardly, if he's got a conservative personality, if he's nervy of being seen, which, leopards are by nature, then it can take even longer. And And I think we have a combination of factors here. So Shungile and Hosana, who were his aunt and uncle, is that right? Yes, they were his aunt and uncle. They habituated from almost the very, very beginning, because their mother was totally relaxed around cars, and we saw them the day they were born, and then probably 2 weeks after that, and then I think there was a bit of a gap before we saw them again, but then Karula brought them round to meet us many times, and they were relaxed. So there really is no fixed time that it takes to habituate a leopard or any animal. It really does depend on their experience, their personalities, and their parents quite often. Sea Cantrell, do the flies ever sleep? Yes, I think they do. I'm just not sure when. No, I do know. In fact, you can watch them go to sleep. You know how often we've sat with Ribbon and wondered, you know, how she's going to cope with all the flies around her. By the time, I'd say 10 minutes before pitch black, they're gone. They disappear. What's she going to do? The Bebe is in there. She's growling at him. He's growling at her. It's all very good-natured. I'd rather hope for a little bit more than this kind of action, where we had a 3-spot view. Just going to wait for that other vehicle to move out of the sighting. Is he out? Alright, let's go back to Rowan and his lovely Lioness. I really don't think this male likes the diesel engine, so we'll wait for them to leave and then we'll move around a bit.
So she's not moved. We've moved to try to get you a better view of her face. And every now and then she looks back. Oh, she might yawn. There we go. And the big teeth. That's nice. Every now and then she looks back, and you can very, very, very faintly hear a lion from behind her. So actually, very possible that it's her brother moaning, like he did this morning, trying to, like, not giving a full-out roar yet, because we'll hear that definitely, just moaning, trying to, you know, contact call. And then there's also a troop of baboons that's walking behind in the riverbed, but very far off. So every now and then we can just hear that. You could hear the barking now, because her den is in that direction. She's just taking a break from the kids for a little while. There's a big troop. They sleep here every single night. Those troop of baboons, they come every single night. You've got the tallest trees on the banks of the Timavati River, so it's safer for them to sleep in these large trees. Here she goes. Very soft when they walk. You can barely hear the pads at all. Huge tick in her right ear. You can now hear the lion. Oh, Trishola's got wild dogs. Okay, we're going to leave this lioness and go towards the roaring line and send you to Chashala with the wild dogs.
We do. We have some dogs now. Let's go. Let's go around and we're going to watch them drink. There's a bit of a hole here, so hold on, Darby. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, this is great. Oh, here's the alpha female. She's the one that has the lip. Oh, here comes another. So you can see her exposed tooth. She also looks like she's lactating. Look at that. She's heavy in the belly.
This one.
Yep, the one that just sat down there. Heavy in the belly. She's got teeth are exposed. Could we be lucky? This is amazing. We're just at this exact dam looking at elephants. David, you say they're checking for crocodiles? Well, now they've noticed the hippo. That's what they're looking at on that side. I see 7 dogs. I think it was Investa Kumbali pack. There was 7 dogs. And look at their massive ears. All the better to hear you with. Well done, of course. Oh, well, hello, James Richard. You say yes, it is Investa Kumbali breakaway. There we go. We're going to have a drink. Very, very tentative with the hippo in the water as well. Ah, 2 processes of liquids going on in one shot there. Have a drink and have a wee. Why not? This is amazing. This morning I had a feeling of dogs. In fact, I was just saying that we have had so many wild dog sightings recently. And I think it is a result of their movements. They move so much and they have massive home ranges. And imagine there being no impeding to that movement. That's just awesome. I think I'm going to actually head up onto the dam wall and see if we can get a better look there. Hold on, Darby. I heard a great job, Trishala. I couldn't hear what it was. Tanya? Ah, Samuel! You say great job, Trishala. Thank you very much. Thank you. There was more. I will let them know that you say great job to them. There they go. Now they're actually going to. They're on the dam wall. They're very close, very, very close to the southern boundary now. You beautiful puppies. Just gorgeous. I'm going to give them a bit of space. Stunning. Look at those coats. Exactly. Arvi, I was saying the exact same thing. I said, look at those coats. Okay, they're heading for the boundary. Heading for the boundary. We need to too. I was just saying, look at those coats. Those paintings are unique to each dog. And they certainly are paintings. I think that's such a perfect word for it. They're a piece of art. They certainly are. On the fire break now. Let's try and go around. Here they come. Let's wait, there's some of them in front of us. There's one individual just to the side of the car. Now they're now walking on the southern boundary. Hey, pup. Ah, this is awesome. Craig, you'd like to know how often they need to hunt? Wild dogs will hunt very often. They'll hunt, attempt to hunt almost every day, because remember they've got a pack to feed. So it's not one individual, like say with a leopard, where you'd have one individual that gets to have 40 kgs of meat, etc. This is now a pack that all need to... Oh, look at that, look at that. Let's listen to their sounds. So they're going to try to hunt as often as possible, and they actually have an excellent success rate. I hear an elephant as well. The dogs. Don't you just love it? Don't you just love it when things just pop out in front of you? There they go. I'm gonna try and just do a little turn here. Maybe we can... I think this is the alpha female here. Look at that, that's the female. The alpha female, and she is looking round. Very, very round. Very round indeed. Oh, very excited about that vehicle. This light, perfect. Just beautiful. Oh no! Oh no! It seems that off they go. Off they go to the south. We might be able to get one more view. Just if we tuck in. Well, we can't tuck in, but we can look. And that's it. That's it. Short and sweet. I don't see anything. Well, now that you've had your little brief interaction with the dogs, I'm going to send you back over to James with his leopard.
Dogs, elephants, lions, leopards. What a drive, eh? Sure. And what a drive for CNN to be on. Elephants and dogs with Trishala, the golden sunlight. Beautiful. I think they got a shot of the leopard, but it may have just been a bush with a few spots. we've managed to catch up with these two, and they have been having the most fascinating little interaction. They went into the thicket, and she was making kind of a growling semi-chuff noise, to the extent that I thought maybe there was something in there, like a snake or something. But then they'd jump out and jump back in, and I think it was just horsing about. I think they was just horsing about. That's what she does. Don't give him a bath in front of us, please. We'd like to watch a bath. Everybody likes to watch bath time. Go for your bath. Come on, little fellow. Shall we give him a name and cause great consternation on Twitter? I always find that... Ah, yes. Miss Anamandus already gave him a name, so we'll just use that, because then Miss Anamandus will take the gears from Twitter, not me. Nervous Ned is his name, so we'll just call him Ned. Right, Ned. Bath time. No, Ned, don't lie down. Go and have a bath. Linda Poley, I have no idea if I'll be on CNN. I did a little interview for them. Whether or not that will translate into some kind of exposure on CNN, well, that's anyone's guess. They'll probably edit me out. Yes, Miss Anamandus, you've learnt through the years that the only way to name a cat and not be shouted at for it is to call it a name and then put not in front of it. So we'll call him Not Ned. And that way you can get away with it. Oh, there. Oh, can you not see them? Sorry, I've got a wonderful view of them. I can see them beautifully. Right, Not Ned. You can go and join your mum now. Or you could stay there for a bit. You can't call a leopard Not Ned. That's the most terrible name for a leopard there's ever been. Quickly, let's go across to the lions. They are shouting their territory.
Stand. The tide ending. He's got his top lip caught on his tooth again. That's awesome. So this is the same Rossmale we saw this morning, and of the two, there's a bit of spit and drool came down there. Of the two Rossmales, he's usually the first one to start roaring, and he's probably trying to figure out where his brother is, as well as, of course, demonstrating that this is still his territory. I haven't heard anything from the young male. He would be somewhere to our left now, actually almost in the direction. Everyone got a fright from the lion roaring. Yeah, it was a quick link back to andBeyond and Ngala, just to catch that. So we haven't heard the young Birmingham male. Oh, now we can hear him. Was that? Low mode? No. Anyway, yeah, so we are going to sit here for a while. For sure, another 7 to 10 minutes. He'll probably call again. It is cooling down quite nicely now. See, he can hear something in that direction. You can see how he's his eyes just got more focus, his ears pricked up. So, remember earlier I was saying we were just going to loop around and see the buffalo herd, and it looked like the lion was going in that direction. So what ended up happening, he never left the river. So he's in the Timavati River now, but right below where the buffalo herd was. So we're spot on with direction. It's just we came short on distance. This looks quite sad. It's amazing how much his mane has darkened. Nora, I absolutely agree with you. There's really no sound better in the bush than a male lion roaring. And yeah, being able to be this close to it, you know, this entire Land Cruiser actually vibrates. You can feel it in your feet coming through the floor of the car. So you know it's a very, very loud sound coming through. It's beautiful. I'm saying that it's amazing to see how much his mane has darkened in the last 2 years. When he just arrived here, he's pretty much completely blonde. You can see now it's getting a lot darker below and on top. I know you want to give us another roar, just one more. And if he does give us one more, we'll probably end up going further east and see if maybe this young male has come into the river. Give you a quick update on the Birmingham young male. But we are definitely going to sit here for one more roar. I think this was actually his first full-out roar. Because when we were sitting with the Lioness, you just kind of heard moans and softly coming through. But this was a little bit louder. And of course, it's all a warm-up thing. So Megan had her earphones on and said the roar vibrated her earphones. That's what it's moaning again. Here we go. Big yawn might turn into a roar. No, just a yawn. Can you hear him moaning? Megan, I agree. That's what a wonderful sound. Vibrating earphones. Okay. He doesn't want to roar, he wants to walk. Quite nice if he just lays on the bank there. So now he's going to where the herd of buffalo was. But there's also water up there, so maybe he's just going for a drink. Blends in so well with the dried grass, doesn't he? And if he was lying down there, facing the other way, it would be terribly difficult to spot. Dylan, how does a lion make those roaring sounds? Very good question, actually. I think it squeezes a lot of air through some apparatus in its throat. I'm not too sure. I don't know the scientific terms for it, Dylan. I'm sorry, I can't help you there. I just know that it literally comes out of the bowels of the stomach. That is, I mean, you can watch it when they roar. The ribs contracting and pushing that out is very, very incredible. Okay, so we're going to go around, but for now you're going back to Djuma. I think back to Richard. Oh, sorry, James, who's still with the leopards.
Yes, Richard here. Richard, correspondent from WildEarth Safaris. Enjoying a leopard sighting here. The little leopard has now climbed up the tree over his mummy. We've had a lovely time here. Richard signing out and handing over to James. Hello, everybody. Nice to have Richard as a guest presenter sometimes. He's a bit of an ass, but not too bad. I have no idea how it is that I have become Richard. we just had the most gorgeous sight of this little leopard climbing up the tree, then straight over his mother, who growled and shouted at him, and then he just kept on climbing. Now I'm going to attempt to get Owen an award-winning shot, except I think, as per usual, there will be too much stick involved. Yes, there will be. In this case, an entire trunk of marula. There's a... Hi. What's happening up there? Ned, you're quite a tree climber, hey? Now there's a kudu alarm calling quite close to the Chitwa waterhole. I don't know what they've seen. It's not these two, but there's another predator around somewhere. Where did those wild dogs go? I wonder if it's not the dogs. Them hounds. Oh, careful, Ned. I would hate to see not Ned plummet to the floor. Yeah, I think that's the dogs that's making that kudu shout. But we can't leave this because not Ned is doing a marvellous display for us after we waited a long time for him to behave in a leopardish manner. Yeah, well, there's something making the kudu upset. But let's keep watching not Ned. Don't worry, everybody, his name won't be Ned, just in case anybody was seriously taking it seriously. You can call him whatever you like. Oh, that's wonderful. Yep, Michael, it is absolutely fascinating how relaxed he's become in just 2 days. I think it's particularly interesting, however, that he's comfortable in a tree, possibly not on the ground. So he feels protected from the vehicle up in the tree, maybe. All right, let me move a little bit. Many of you saying you love not Ned. You people are courting disaster for yourselves. I promise you, you are inviting abuse. You are inviting the wrath of the Twitter sphere. There's nothing quite as politically charged as naming animals out here. When I started calling Shongile and Osana George and Charlotte, I had to get a security detail to look after me. That is too gorgeous. Hi, not Ned. I'm going to attempt a photograph of that, but I think it's too dark. Luke, you say we can call him Netherwood. Why would we call him Netherwood? Oh, Nedwood, as in Leadwood. Yeah, that's his full name. That's quite, I suppose that's quite noble. When he's in trouble with Gachava, he's called Nedwood. His mummy is very relaxed. She is deeply pleased with the way her day, indeed her week, has turned out. that the light has gone for photography. Really, Dina Kay, you say not Ned makes you miss not Barbara, who was Shadow's second to last cub? I think second to last cub. And you miss her because she was your first leopard cub. She was lovely. I loved her too. I got such a lovely picture of her once on a termite mound, and it's such a nostalgic shot because she just looked so vulnerable, and that was the last time I saw her. And she just kind of smiling at us. Oof. Alright, let's go across to Rowan now. I believe he's got the injured Birmingham male lion. That sounds like a horrid story.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, so we found the Birmingham young male also in the river. It's actually quite funny. They were basically, all lions were spaced out quite evenly from each other. And the reason why we decided to come into this direction is because he responded to that roar. And so we think what might have happened is that the Ross male could be on his way back to this young male. So I'll just sit here for a while. You can actually see the wound on his back leg. The camera quite nicely. It's deep, it's swollen, it's a little bit bruised. But I'm fairly certain he'll bounce back from that. He has bounced back from quite a few wounds before. But what a beautiful animal. A much broader head than the Ross male. Of course, I think everyone's voting for the underdog, so I'm pretty sure this is now everyone's favorite lion on andBeyond Ngala. Now, especially in this light, you can see the white underneath the eyes so clearly. It's like it's been painted on. I think now me calling James Richard, I don't know. I think, of course, I've got James Richard, who knows quite a bit about our leopards. And so I was trying to turn around and try to figure out where I was going. Am I going to the pan system? Am I going to follow that male line, or am I going to come look for this male line? So my thought process was just going everywhere. And then for some reason, James Richard just popped into my head. So James Henry went to Richard. Anyway, these things happen. At least James also he thought it was funny too. Sorry, Mr. Henry. There we go. Everything starts as a soft moan. Don't know why, but it's sad when he does it. I like his hairstyle, I like the low mohawk. I think what makes it even better is that he faces the camera every single time he starts moaning. Okay, look at us. Hope everyone's sitting on the edge of their seats, because I am. Such big expectations. Heather wants to know who's the father of this Birmingham male. Heather, we used to call them just the Western males because we knew them as coming from the West. So in andBeyond Ngala, they were known as the Western males. think they were part of the giraffe coalition. Yeah, and of course they were killed off. One of them died not too long ago. I actually saw him about a year after being kicked out. One big male. It actually could be his father. But yeah, we just knew them as the Western males. It was the giraffe coalition. There's always a bit of dispute among lion people, because this reserve calls a lion this name, then another reserve will call a lion a different name. So yeah, it's a bit of a touchy subject. It's caused a few fights before on social media pages. Can you hear the Rossmouth calling? You know, we started our day with both of these lions roaring. It's just fitting that we end our day with both of these lions roaring. Funny, the Rossmouth just called again, unless both brothers are now there. So we're going to sit here for a while, see what happens. Maybe they come here, but for now I'll send you over to Taylor on Karongo. He's got a slender mongoose and a pup.
Hello everybody. Now I know it seems as though you're just staring at grass, but if you look very carefully just to the left of the road and the center of your screen, you'll see something moving around. Now there is a female slender mongoose and her pup. There you go. Oh, of course they're behind the branches. They were out on the road and then they got a bit of a fright. And now they've just ducked in. There we go. I'm hoping though that because we're sitting here so quietly, that they might creep out again, because it's a very special sighting. There we go. Look at this. It's not very often that you get to see slender mongoose, because they are a ferocious predator and they are often told off by all the birds in the bush. Look at that. Now they've come out in the open. So I don't think it's a mating pair. The one looks significantly smaller than the other, so I think it is a mom and a pup. And they normally only give birth to one or two little pups anyways. Here we go, sitting on either side of the road. I think they've taken the opportunity to just have one last forage before they head back, because they're not really nocturnal. There's two species of mongoose that we three that we can see at night, but the one that we see that's most common in this area is the white-tailed mongoose, and they're much larger. They're the largest mongoose species, in fact, that we see. But these guys are something in between. I don't know what it's got. Maybe it's just nibbling on some termites or some ants. They have quite a varied diet. They'll eat small mammals, they'll eat reptiles, and they'll eat a whole bunch of insects. That was quite cool, but I think that they've moved further down the road. Should we have a quick look at the moon, because it is so beautiful. Oh, that was such a nice sighting. We were sitting with them for ages. So, unfortunately, Alex and I had one of those days where we've repelled every single animal in the bush. The only thing that hasn't run away from us is the moon, but we were worried that it was going to drop out of the sky at one point. Alex has been sulking all afternoon. Alex is on camera with me because we've seen no animals. But then I had to remind him of the incredible sighting we had this morning, which I do want to try and show you. So essentially what happened after you left us, I remember I said to you that the cheetah males, the three boys that live on Karongwe, were on their way to the area of the female. Well, we weren't wrong, that's for sure. Basically what ended up happening is, I'm not going to spoil the story though. They moved in, and about 45 minutes to an hour after the show ended, there was an interaction. So I'm just going to find the right one, and then I shall show you. Why is technology so difficult? You'd think I'd be better at using it. It's a touch screen. My goodness. Okay, let's see. Let's just have a look at this one. Oh no, that's the wrong one. You can't see that one. No, I'm joking. I'll go to the one before. Okay, let's see if this is any better. So you can see the two little cubs. I tried to take that was the world's shortest video. As you can see, that's not the one I want to show you. This is terrible. Let me show you this one. So they're the two little cubs. That's one of the male cheetah. At least I think it's one of the males. It was hard to keep track of them. Yeah, it was one of the boys. Okay. I'm not going to show you anything more. That's it. But you can see them there. They start distressing a little bit. Okay, I'm going to stop playing the video. And you can come out of me now. Sorry, I'm going to put my camera down. So essentially what I want to tell you is there was incredible interaction that I've never seen before. And it's something that isn't seen very often. Now I'm stuck. So keep a lookout on Training social media a little bit later, pretty much straight after the show. We'll play the whole video. I'm going to say it one more time. One more time. Sorry, connection breakup again. Story of my life. So basically what I was saying is that we'll be sharing the video a little bit later. It was quite spectacular and we were taken by surprise. We didn't even know the boys had arrived. We just started hearing vocalizations. But I'm going to stop talking now. Trish is back at the hyena den, and it seems like she's had a whole bunch more animals than we have.
I have had a whole bunch. Brief, though brief, they are a whole bunch. Now, at the den, we saw Ntima, Ribbon, and Comet, who all promptly walked off. You know what that means? We can't sit at the den. But good old Louise has just got some intel. Hukumuri has just crossed into Djuma. Kirst, do you know where James is? Is he still on Chitwa? Just want to check with him if he'd like to go have a look. Okay. Then I am going to make my way to Zoe's and try to find Hukumuri. Sorry that the hyena den didn't work out, but hey, we had some wild dogs. So let's go Zoe's. That's the place he likes. The light is beautiful, the sun is setting, the moon is brilliant, and James has two leopards, or maybe even one leopard, in a tree. Let's go see. Ooh, it rhymed.
We are having a lovely little relaxed time with our friends Not Ned and his mama Guchava. They are both having a very nice snooze in the top of their tree. It's just the most gorgeous little scene. Now, while you're enjoying this, I received a fascinating email from Mr. Brian Milne, and these are wonderful emails to get because they're always so gently correcting. Sometimes they're quite vicious, but this one is particularly gentle. So, Brian Milne had a grandfather who helped with a few leopard relocations in his time, and I shall read you what Brian said. And he used to say that a caged leopard would often not do much in the cage, but if you looked it in the eyes while handling the cage, then it would lash out for sure. So that's interesting. Then he sent a quote from the Londolozi blog. Now, which basically says if you find a leopard on foot, don't look it in the eye because it'll react, because it'll know it's been spotted. Now, that's absolutely true. If a leopard knows it's been seen, it will absolutely react by either moving away or sitting up and looking, and it'll go tense. This is if you're on foot. But I don't believe, Brian, that that's eye contact. If you see a leopard, so if I came walking down the road and I saw these leopards in the tree, looking at its foot or its face would make absolutely no difference. If it saw my eyes moving towards it, it absolutely knows that I'm looking at it. That's what causes, I think, a leopard to react. I'm still not convinced that it's eye contact, except that your grandfather's example is really interesting. So, I've never been that close to that many leopards on foot that I could say one way or t'other. But, that's really interesting. So maybe it does make a difference with them. It certainly doesn't in a vehicle. So if you're in a vehicle and you're right next to a leopard and you stare it in the eyes, it doesn't react. So let's leave it here. I'm not saying that it isn't like that. In my experience, it hasn't been. But thank you, Brian, for that wonderful information. This is really one of the most pleasant things about this job that I do, is I get these gorgeous emails from people who share stories like that about their grandfather. I got a message from a chap called Henry the other day who had witnessed a little grebe. I don't know if you were on the drive with me, but we watched a little grebe torpedoing basically a white-faced whistling duck, and I thought, well, that's odd, I've never seen that before. And Henry got hold of me and said, no, he'd seen it before many years ago, 20 years ago or something, on a trip to northern Natal where he'd watched the little grebes torpedoing Egyptian geese, or no, an African black duck, that's what it was. And lots of little communications of people who love nature, love sharing stories of nature, and love sharing information about nature. Let's now go back to the Birmingham male lion with Leslie, who is at Ngala. Les, over to you.
Leslie. Okay. I don't think I look like a Leslie at all. Anyway, we're still sitting with him. The other Rasmal has been calling quite a bit in answer to this one. So we're waiting. I've actually been waiting to see if he will stand up, to see what his limp looks like. Of course, I think he's been lying down here for quite some time. So with that, the wind gets cold again. I think he might limp quite badly. But he was looking so comfortable. He passed out on his side for a little while, head on the sand. It looked rather just amazing. Just going to respond now. The Rasmal's roaring. He's definitely not giving it his all, and most probably he doesn't want to challenge the Rasmals, but that is not a full-blown roar from this male. I believe he can go a lot louder. It's actually so nice to sit so close and you can hear him roaring and then sucking air back in. So we're going to leave him here, let him be. For now, we're going to send you over to Cindy, who's with Hukumuru, who just crossed in.
Cindy with Hukumuri? I'm sure you meant to say Trish with a spotty surprise. Either way, yay, it is Hukumuri. Exactly where we thought he'd be. It's fake name day. Well, Cindy, I'm not sure suits me, but hey, I'll take it. Here's right where we expected, on Zoe's Road, just north of the junction with Fulham's cut line. I know you guys like to know exactly where we find the guys. And he was sitting pretty right there. And, whoa, that was a very strong popcorny smell. Ha, that is the woof of a good afternoon out. That's what that is. Now, of course, we are behind him at the moment, but we should be able to find a clear spot so we can get around and have a good look at him in a bit. I'm just going to pull off here so we can at least get a side view. Tyler, you'd like to know how big a leopard's territory is? Tyler, it can go anything from 10 kilometers squared to 100 kilometers squared, even more. I'll tell you why that is. In areas where there are fewer resources, territories are bigger. In areas where there are lots of resources, like along a riverbank, things like that, that's when territories can be mighty small. In deserts, territories can be huge, so it varies quite a bit. Our leopards here, their territories are at least 12 kilometers squared, because most of them roam all of Djuma, besides this guy who prefers to keep it in the west, on the western portion of Djuma. He's so good to me. Cindy, the real Cindy, you say you wish you were Hukumuri? Oh, with Hukumuri. Yes, Cindy, I'm sure you didn't wish you are Hukumuri. But Cindy, there you go. They called me Cindy, so now you are here, Cindy. You are here. This is your experience. It's happening right now. Why not? Why not feel like you are here? I know it's difficult sometimes, but you are. Believe it. How exciting that we can do this for you. That we can find these animals and just stroll into our lives, stroll into our afternoons. There he goes. Round that corner. But it is a little bit open now, so I will be able to get around, hopefully. I heard him say something about him needing to soar to advertise his territory a little bit. I didn't catch all of it. There was a bit of broken telephone going on. But I believe it was that and something about in front of the moon. Now you know that would be awesome. The grass is tall here. Grass is tall. Let's just watch him. I haven't seen him since I've been back. And I've been just wanting to see him so much, looking on this road. And it is very rewarding when you manage to eventually find the animal on this road, because it tells you that you've been looking in the right places. It is. Just like when we found Kuchava and Cub on that Chitwa driveway. There's Hukumuri and the moon. Almost. Sorry, Davi. Giving you a tough time. Alright, we got one down. Hukumuri and the moon. Now we just need him to soar, right? Just been having an excellent day, guys. I'm a little animal high at the moment.
Michelle coming. Standing back there. Yeah.
Sarah, I agree with you. You say you love the way he walks. It's like he's flexing his muscles in his front leg. He doesn't need to flex, Sarah. He's buff all day, every day. And I know exactly what you mean. A little bit like a pit bull, you know? Whenever I want to describe Hukumuri, that's the first thing that comes to mind. There's a bit of a nice view. He's only looked at me once today, though. The darkness is really setting in. I know. I'm also feeling that he may soar any moment. It's the perfect time. It's the perfect time now. Okay, I am going to look for a gap with my spotlight. I just want you to see his face, so we can have a good look at him. But I'm still not seeing a gap. And again, he will slowly walk towards vanishing points there. No, not quite, just to the end of the road. Ah, I think I see a gap. I think I see a gap. Just watch I find this gap and then we get stuck in the middle of this bush or something. Hi, Kay Williamson. Oh, this is not bad as well. You'd like to know if I can hear any alarm calls as he walks? It is silent. Absolutely silent. In fact, I'll be quiet and you can listen. A leopard silently slinking through the bush. Very, very silent. Okay. Time for me to find a gap. Whenever I try to do this, I get a very quirky look from the leopard I'm trying to find a gap to see. And they look at me like, were you trying to get ahead of me? Because that ain't working. You're going to see that look again as I again arrive to the behind of Hukumuri. That perhaps was not the best gap I've ever had. He's so good, he's so patient, he's so tolerant. Hi Prashant! You'd like to know if he could be heading towards Kuchava? No. No, Kuchava is quite far away. This may be it, guys. This may be it. A very short gap, but here we go. This is as best as I can do. Prashant, Kuchava is quite far away. Kuchava is about maybe 4 Ks. What do you say, Dami? I'd say 5 Ks away. And he's heading in a northerly direction, and he's in the west. Kuchava is in the east. All the way at Chitwa Chitwa. I am on the west, couple roads in from the western boundary. In Djuma. Okay, I'll let him know. Kirst has a message for Hukumuri, and that is he has 6 minutes to soar. Kirst, I'm just looking for a gap at the moment, but I'll push the pressure on. Beautiful leopard Hukumuri. Please will you soar? He amazes me. He walks at such a beautiful pace. At such a, just so tolerant. I love it. It amazes me. Absolutely amazes me. And if all of this amazes you just as much as the beauty of these animals amaze me, please, please go to our support page. Some details should be coming up on your screen shortly, if not right now. And do what you can to support us so that we can continue to bring you these live safaris and that you can continue to see Hukumuri. Yes, I see the big tree. I think this might happen. I think we may get in front of him. Whew. Made it. If you guys were concerned about the trees that get knocked over there, don't you worry. These trees pop straight back out. So there's really no need to worry. In fact, if you are in the vehicle, you'll see them pop right out. As long as you don't go over and back and over and back. That's all good. Just stunning. Can you tell that I'm glad, everyone? I'm very glad. I feel like he's leading me in the darkness. He now has probably about 4 minutes to saw for us. Oh, that's perfect. Cursed. Now if he could... Ooh, here's a gap. Here's a gap. Here's a gap. Don't worry about that. Can't say I know what that was, but don't worry about it. Okay, we'll get a view here as he moves around. There's a beautiful clearing about 3 minutes drive from here. Except we'll be off air by then. How about we just take it easy and... Not that easy, Tishala. We'll just take it easy and enjoy the back view of the hook. Put my head down. Oh, a bit of scent marking going on. Just a beautiful creature. Doesn't each step look so deliberate? I really hope that in the morning he'll still be around. He's doing his usual patrol. At the moment. And that can usually, well, not usually, but that can mean that can be out of the property quite quickly. He usually goes south, north from here. And then he turns west around Impala plains, power lines, and then he's out. But occasionally he goes up to Albury's. He used to do that quite a bit. I think we can actually move alongside him here. It's going to be quite nice. Hukamuri, Kirst would like me to let you know that you have 1 minute to soar 1 minute. Kirst, he seems to not want to engage you. He's on a territorial patrol. He's the adult on drive today. He says, nope, you're going to be spoilt, and I'm not going to have it. Is it time for you to soar? Hey, my boy. I wish that he did, but last couple seconds, let's stop and just watch his gloriousness. Well, thank you guys. It's been a spectacular drive, but it is that time. Thanks for your questions, your comments, everything else. We'll see you in the morning. Bye for now.